Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. We've got some big updates from Solskjaer. He's been speaking in Norwegian. He's been speaking to a Norwegian outlet. I don't know whether it was done in Norwegian. I don't know. But he's got a bit of an update on Sancho and the delay around him. And to be honest, it's looking unlikely he's going to make his debut from the start of the game tomorrow. Possibly on the bench, but we'll talk about why that is. Also, DALOT rumours to Milan again, which leads you to think, is Trippier going to be the signing again? Where's the bloody midfielder? But it would be wrong of me not to start off with, it's now 10 o'clock in the morning in the UK and we still haven't announced Raphael Varane. Liverpool have just announced Van Dijk signed a 4-year deal. Ollie's doing his press conference in 3 hours' time. Still nothing on Varane. Also, we've got some updates around United's transfer policy. And I mean, to be honest with you, I've got to say at this point, there's two things I want to say. One, I think we've been sold whatever you call it, a lie. I think we've been sold a lie. I mean, only just then I've just seen something that the Glazers fan forum meeting said that they wanted to bring it, they were planning on bringing a share scheme in before the start of the season. Well, that's not happened. The start of the season is tomorrow. And I just think that everything that we're told is going to change at this football club ultimately ends in disappointment. They showed great promise at the start of the summer with Sancho and Varane, but look how long it's taken to get those deals done. Neither of them is going to start against Leeds. Is that a quick, effective summer? I mean, I know Fabrizio said it is, and I know other people think it is, but there's no sales, there's no midfielder, there's no communication. I think this is the big thing I want to say. When Villa sold Grealish, their CEO came out with a 5 minute, it's hard to talk for 5 minutes about something really important like he did. The Aston Villa CEO came out for 5 minutes and explained why Grealish had gone. Eloquently, communicative, brilliant leadership and total respect for its fan base. 2.5 weeks ago, Manchester United announced they'd done a deal with Madrid for Varane via a website. 2.5 weeks later, he's still not a Manchester United player. Now, there could be valid reasons for that. There could be loads of reasons. We can all pull them out the sky. Image rights, more serious issue. I don't know. The issue I have, and I think the issue many people have, is the communication from Manchester United is arrogant at best, possibly incompetent. They are arrogant in the way they treat you, the customer. What would it have taken for Manchester United to just put something, and they don't even have to do it themselves, put it out through Simon Stone or someone like that. Put it out there so that fans know that they've been waiting for the medical since Tuesday. They've been waiting for the announcement since Tuesday night. It's now Friday lunchtime. Just put something out there. We know we've bought him. It's not like you're going to jeopardise it. We know we're getting him. Just get the announcement out there. And if you can't, explain it. Because I don't know whether they're sat there like a bunch of prats thinking, 10 o'clock, put something out about a cleaning product. 11 o'clock, put something out about a Maguire quote. We're really building the anticipation. Read the room. You're not building anticipation. You're building frustration ahead of a big season. And that frustration's a big thing because it can then feed into the team, which has got nothing to do with Ollie. It's got nothing to do with the players. But you're building a frustration again. People are frustrated that they think the transfer window's over. People are frustrated that they thought Varane would play tomorrow. They thought Sancho was going to play tomorrow. But the delays on those deals have made that not sensible. But if you explain something, like if you're at a restaurant and you order your steak and chips and 20 minutes later it's not there and you're still waiting 20 minutes after that, you start to get frustrated. You get angry, don't you? If the waitress or waiter comes out and says, sorry, there's been a delay with the steak, the cow's playing up or something, I don't know. All right, you're still a bit frustrated, but you've halved that frustration because you've had an explanation. United treat their fans like mushrooms. They don't actually seem to respect fans at all. They make out they do because they want you to buy tickets and everything, but in key communication times, they're terrible. Why could we not have got somebody like Simon Stone leaked from the club last night? United had hoped to get the medical done today. They've not been able to for this reason. They're still hoping to get it done tomorrow, but it might not be till next Monday. I mean, just something like that. Something like that. It's communication. It costs nothing. And it gains you hugely in relation to the positivity around the club. And they can moan all they like, but that they know that's right. They know it's right. You know it's right. You know it's right. They know it's right. Communication is key, and they do not communicate with their fans. Nobody's moaning about the fact... Well, they are moaning, and we all wanted Varane to be able to play against Leeds. But if there's a legitimate reason, which there obviously is, let the fans know. Let the fans know, and then we can all just get on with it. Mark, I don't see why we don't go for that Greek right back at Malaga. Great potential and probably get him for under 15 million, says Vinny. And Mark, I just received my Bruno Magnifico shirt here in Australia. Slightly small, but love it anyway, says Adesh. Thanks, pal. And Mark, it's just the image rights now. I don't understand why they can't just put an animated image and announce what the hell. Look, Oliver, I think with Varane, there probably is a delay, and it might happen in the next hour. It might happen at midday. It might not happen till Monday. But bloody communicate to your fans. This is not the middle of June. This is a day before the Leeds game. Some fans actually thought there was a chance he'd play tomorrow. We don't know whether he trained yesterday. Like, why are they not communicating? And some people will go, it's not that deep. But it is that deep because it does bother a lot of our fan base. Like, why have we not announced it? Did he train yesterday? Is there any chance of him playing tomorrow? And they just could communicate it, but they don't. It's arrogance. Well, it comes across as arrogance. They don't need to know that. They don't need to know that. Just push them towards the website to buy the shirts. They don't need to know what's going on. And it's just poor communication. But, my experience with United is there's some fantastic people that work there, but some of the decision-making is poor. And they don't communicate very well. And they could communicate a lot better. And if they don't like that, well, maybe look at your staff. Maybe all this job's for everybody, high-fiving everybody behind the scenes. Ultimately, the customer's always right. United have more delays than the M25, says Martin B. Well, let's talk about the Sancho delay. I mean, I'm hoping we might still get an announcement this morning, but we'll have to wait. Mark, get ready for the masterpiece tonight, says Zayn Biassi. Hey, I'm watching it. That's football tonight, 8 o'clock. Brent, up the bees. Brentford. I think that's their nickname. But look, Sancho delay. This is what I was going to talk about. Welcome to the members club, Gosh. Right, let me have a sip of my coffee. There could be more tears before the Premier League's really started. I mean, it's not really the starter tonight, isn't it? It's a bit like a crap tribute act. Arsenal against Brentford, but I will watch it. The main event's tomorrow. So, let's talk about Sancho. Ollie's been doing an interview in Norwegian. I think it's TV2 he's done it with. And basically he's spoken about Sancho and given them... Again, communication. No communication again. I mean, look, they don't have to communicate everything, let's be honest. They don't have to. But there's a lot that they could communicate to their brilliant fan base. So basically, Ollie's come out. We all wondered why Sancho started a week later than Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, despite playing less time in the Euros and playing for England. So Ollie said that after the Euros, he's fit and ready to go, and then he's got a bit sick, and that's delayed him a little bit, and that he's only had 1.5 training sessions. That depends on when Ollie did that interview. That could have been yesterday, it could have been 2 days ago. He could have done 3 training sessions by now. But ultimately, reading between the lines, he does say, unfortunately, Sancho got a little bit sick. Now, that must be why he was a week later training than Shaw and Maguire, and therefore that is why he didn't play against Everton last week when Shaw and Maguire did, and therefore that's why he's only started training this week, and therefore that's why he's unlikely to start the game tomorrow. Which is a shame, because I had Sancho in my team. I think a lot of people put Sancho in the team. The buzz of Sancho, 75,000 fans, a big game we need to win. I was very confident that Sancho would play. I suppose now you've got to say that the debut tomorrow is is probably going to get delayed and is in doubt. But Ollie sort of clarifying. Welcome to the members club, Jordo. Ollie sort of clarifying there that there was a bit of an illness. I don't think it was COVID, because people were saying, it must have been COVID. I don't think it would be COVID, because he was on holiday, wasn't he? He went on holiday with Rashford. It could have been like a sickness bug, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be COVID. But whatever happened, that is obviously why he's been delayed by a week. And I do think that probably... it does jeopardise him starting tomorrow. I think hopefully he'll make the bench, but maybe not. Maybe not. We'll find out more about that in the press conference from Ollie at lunchtime. Mark, what about Neves? Says Joyner. We're not talking to Neves. Like, I can tell you that we're not in discussions with George Mendes or Ruben Neves. We're not. So I think you've got to say no. I don't think Neves is the sort of deal we can do in 2.5 weeks. We're just not talking to them. we're not looking to do a deal. So remember watching Brian Robson sign his contract on the pitch in 81 at half-time. Would not surprise me that United parade Varane before the first home game of the season to milk the occasion. Red since 1975. I was too old to remember that in 1981. I have heard a few people saying, do you think we'll announce Varane on the pitch? Very dangerous. Very dangerous. I mean, if anyone... What I do remember, I think it was 89 or 88? It wouldn't have been 87. Michael Knighton tried to buy Manchester United. Opening game of the season, he was doing keep-ups on the pitch. We beat Arsenal 4-1. Neil Webb scored a cracker. But, you know, those sort of things have got a big way of kicking you in the arse. Imagine Varane's there announced in front of 75,000 fans and then you lose to Leeds. We'll get bantered. You know, it's amazing if it's a good day. You get bantered if it's a bad day. So I don't think we would do that. I wonder who's going to be this year's panic buy, says Shadow Production. I mean, look, I will say this as well. I will say this. LS Colston, thank you very much for joining the members club. This, I wanted to bring you out this morning as well, actually. Let me just read you this. Manchester United players, this is from Manchester Evening News. Manchester United players have spoken highly of the football director, John Murtaugh. Sounds good. We've got a new football director, John Murtaugh, right? Okay, fine. Sounds great. Goes on to say, neither are heavily involved in deals for signing or identifying targets. That's Murtaugh or Fletcher. With Murtaugh overseeing the overall structure and strategy, but the duo have represented the club eloquently in meetings. What are they doing? Putting a tuxedo on and bringing out the tea and coffee? I mean, they're not involved in deals for signing or identifying players, but they're in meetings eloquently. I mean, what is it they're doing then? The director of football is not involved in the deals or in identifying players, but he represents us eloquently in meetings. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what that's meant to mean. The club's restructuring complete. Industry figures have been impressed by how football director Murtaugh and technical director Fletcher have conducted themselves. Yeah, but what are they doing? They're not involved in deals and they're not involved in identifying players. So what do? Just sit in a meeting and hand out the custard creams? I mean, look, obviously they're doing more than that, but this is what I mean. It's the clarity of the communication at United again, isn't it? At the start of the summer and for the first 2 months of the summer, all I heard from so-called experts in the transfer industry, oh yeah, Murtaugh and Fletcher, they've restructured it all. They're the reason everything's going well. Well, you know what? Everything I'm hearing at the moment, if you want to call this a good summer, you better put some respect on Woodward and Judge's name then. Because it's Woodward and Judge who are doing the same thing they've done for years. Murtaugh and Fletcher are not identifying the players and they're not negotiating for the players. So, you know, put some respect on Woodward and Murtaugh's name, I think. You know, because ultimately, because of lack of communication, we're being fed a load of nonsense this summer. All I hear is these people who, with inside information saying, yeah, well, Murtaugh's doing this, Fletcher's doing that, this is why everything's changed. Well, you know what? We're actually hearing from The Athletic and the Manchester Evening News and other people that Murtaugh's not involved in negotiating for players and he's not involved in identifying players. So change your tweets, change your info and start saying, if you think it's a good summer, start saying Woodward and Judge have done a masterclass then, because they're the people doing the negotiations. They're the people involved with Ollie in identifying the players. Not Murtaugh, not Fletcher, not my words, the words of people close to the club. So, you know, you need to actually start understanding what's going at that club before you start thinking there's massive changes about how we recruit players. Personally, I think we started the summer transfer window off really, really well. But if I'm going to be blunt, I don't see much change. I see a club that needed to sell 3 new shirts for a new team sponsor. And they thought we need to bring in a couple of big signings. They bring Sancho and Varane in. They sell nobody. They don't buy in a key area in the midfield. And they just rumble on with top four's good enough. We've sold a lot of shirts. We keep the money running in. There's a backlog for season tickets again. Everyone's forgot about the Super League. There's no more protests. Let's get back to it for another 16 years. That's how I look at it. And yeah, I'm a little bit cynical, but I just don't believe that this summer has been that great. Varane is an amazing signing when it happens. Sancho is an amazing signing when it happens. We've sold nobody and we have a squad of 30 players. We've got a ridiculous wage bill. We're still in the top 5 clubs in the world for wage bill. Yet we're not in the top 5 club. We're not even in the top 10 clubs in the world, really, are we? And we haven't solved key issues within the team. Still got 2 fantastic goalkeepers when one shouldn't be here. Paul Pogba situation not resolved. So, I don't think it's the great summer everybody thinks it is. And if you do think it's the great summer that you want it to be, stop putting it all onto Murta and Fletcher, because they haven't been involved in identifying or buying players. Start praising Woodward and Judge. Well, no one really wants to do that, but that's where you need to put the praise. Sancho had a cotton bud in his ear in the first training video. Maybe he's got earache, says Scott Murdoch. Who knows? Who knows? But look, what we've got to do is not fall into the trap that I think maybe Arsenal fall into. They maybe throw everything in together. And Harry Maguire's been talking this morning about how important it is to have the fans back in the ground. Tomorrow we play Leeds. It's a game of football we must want to win. I put this like the Super League. When the Super League happened, absolute disgust in the fan base with the club. But it was never aimed at the manager and the players. And look, this is on a much different level. I expected this to happen. I think most people expected this to happen. Everything's just going to go back to normal again. But that doesn't mean that you're not excited, positive and hopeful for the season with the players. It just means that you're looking at the way the club's run again and thinking, no, nothing's changed here. I mean, we've had 4 managers in the last 8 years. Sir Alex Ferguson was our manager under the Glazers. Doesn't mean you can definitely differentiate. Supporting the players, supporting the manager is completely different to moaning about the way the teams run. And you do get thick fans out there. I see them all the time. I've just seen someone in the chat saying, stop moaning. I'm like, mate, you're a little bit thick because you can't open your brain. I'm critical of the way this club's been run for the last 16 years, and I still don't see a lot of change. Not moaning about the manager, not moaning about the team. 2 very separate things. Unfortunately, you've got Manchester United, the players and the manager, and you've got Manchester United, the brand. And they are sometimes together, but most of the time they're very separate things. And 99% of the moaning is aimed at the Manchester United ownership, not at the players and the manager. So you can definitely differentiate those 2 things. And if you can't, you're a little bit thick. Why does Woodward think he's the Don? He's a banker that's bad at his job, says Daniel Kirk. I mean, I don't rate Woodward. I think I don't think he's very good at his job. I think that the way he tried to distance himself from the Super League was laughable. I mean, he's the CEO of the club and everything goes through him, and we're meant to believe that he didn't really know what was going on. But what I'm saying is, if you want to call this summer a good summer, you've got to give credit to Woodward and Matt Judge, who lots of people think are incompetent, because we keep being told that Murta, the director of football, isn't involved in recruitment and doesn't identify the players. So if you think Varane and Sancho are amazing players and it's been an amazing summer, they are amazing players. I don't think it's been an amazing summer. You've got to put the credit with Woodward and Judge and Ollie, because they're involved in that. Cole says we are horribly run. The best thing this club does is sell kits. We are not good at anything else. It's such a shame. Honestly, a bad summer. Well, let's move it on. Love the show. Sorry, let me just read that. I missed the super chat there. Welcome to the Members Club, Liam Spencer. Thank you very much for joining. I'll go back and find that one in a minute. But I did want to just talk. Oh, here we go. Ethan Reynolds says, love the show, Mark. Big game tomorrow, can't wait. Joke that Sancho and Varane won't play. I'm going to Old Trafford to watch, says Ethan. Well, fingers crossed, you might see Sancho at some point, but it's looking unlikely that he will start. But Varane, forget about it. Christian says, I watched the Varane documentary a few months ago. Seems like a really likeable guy and unreal player. I think we have a gem. I've just tweeted about that, Christian. I didn't even know there was a Varane documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. Well worth a watch. Real insight to the player, his family life, his upbringing, his career. 18, he was only 18 when he went to Madrid, which, we all know he was there for 10 years. He's 28, but the story behind it, we're getting a fantastic player there. Absolutely brilliant player, and the most important thing is the personality behind it. Just think Juan Mata. It's that sort of a thing again. Really likeable guy, and very excited for him to sign for Manchester United. When it happens, maybe Christmas, I don't know. But another bit of story coming out from Italy, that Milan have sort of parked their interest in Lorenzini, who's at PSG, to try and go in for DALOT again. I said this at the start of the week. A lot of people want to say that Trippier is finished. I think that's the deal United are trying to do. I don't think we're trying to do a midfield deal. We're not talking to Neves. Camavinga's not as advanced as people say it is. I think if we're going to do another deal, it's going to be Trippier and DALOT out. And to be honest with you, I'd rather we kept DALOT now. I don't want to spend. Delay will go on loan, which means we'll find money to spend on Trippier. That money should be being used for a midfielder. So I don't want Trippier anymore. I just want to keep Delay. But again, it's starting to build that Delay and Milan again. And, that to me is not... I said it a few weeks ago. I've got nothing against Trippier. I think he's a decent right back. But if this summer transfer window... I think most people say that this summer transfer window for United is a 7 out of 10. Because Sancho and Varane are brilliant. But where's the midfielder? And we've sold nobody. So it's a 7 out of 10. If we buy Trippier, that doesn't add anything to me. That doesn't make it an 8 out of 10 or even a 7.5 out of 10. It means we've got rid of Delay to bring in another right back. It doesn't. We're not selling a player. We're not bringing a midfielder in. So for me, I don't think it adds anything to our transfer window. But look, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're looking at, because there's one thing you can tell about Manchester United: we're not really good at surprises. I think people are hoping that there's a midfielder there that we're just going to swoop in and buy with 2 weeks to go. It'll be Camavinga if anybody. I don't think that'll happen. And I think if we're going to buy anybody, it's going to be Trippier. And you know why it's going to be Trippier? Because I was told at Christmas that we wanted Trippier. We tried to get him in January, but then they had that betting issue. And we've been trying to get him all summer. We want Trippier. We've been talking to Atletico Madrid for 8 months. We want Trippier. Atletico Madrid might do it because they want the money, and United are hoping that at the end of the window the price comes down. I really do think if we're going to do any deal, it will be Trippier. And whether some of you will be happy with that, some won't. Omar says Goldbridge has got world-class analysis. Ollie has ruthless hairdryer treatment. Well, I don't think everyone will agree with you on it, Omar, but thank you very much for the super chat. We've just had an update here that I'm just about to read out for you. Somebody just said, Mark, can you read this on Twitter? Basically they're just saying that Varane weight is becoming a joke, basically, which I think we'd all agree. So, there you go. Yeah. Sorry, I've just had a clip from Ben from All for United. I'll have a look at that in a bit. This confirms that he's been training and his shirt number is something we dream about him getting. I don't know what that's meant to mean. Can somebody just... So there's a tweet going out basically saying... So basically, there's something out when the Varane weight becomes so inordinate, you dream about the wrong squad number he's wearing in training. I mean, it's no news. That's news now. We're talking about stuff like that. I mean, Jamie Carragher's saying that United have got to deliver this season. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Jamie Carragher has said that Manchester United have got £50 million players in loads of positions. They came second last year. It's the season that Solskjaer needs to deliver. And I will say that again. I think many of us agree with that. That on the eve of this very exciting Premier League season, in fact, well, it isn't the eve. It starts tonight. But the proper games start tomorrow. Especially for United, I do think we've got to deliver. I do think Solskjaer's got to deliver. And it's interesting, I wrote something down. He said that he can't make any promises. He doesn't want to promise anything about this season, but we've got to start well. We did well from November to May last year, and we finished third and second, and we've got to do well and we've got to start well. And I think everybody would agree with that. And it's good to hear that Ollie's saying that, and I'm sure he'll say it in his press conference at lunchtime, that we have got to start well. We've got 6 games that we can win. But I think in many ways, tomorrow's the hardest of the lot because it's the first game. It's like starting a sprint, isn't it? Winning the Premier League is like a 100-metre sprint. And you could say that every 3 or 4 strides is a game. And somebody will tell me mathematically that's not wrong. You're running 200 metres or 400 metres. But what I'm saying is, it's like you've got to start on the B of the bang. I remember Colin Jackson, who was a 110 metres hurdles for Great Britain. You won gold, actually. And he always used to say, you've got to go on the B of the bang. Don't wait for the bang before you go. As soon as you hear the B of the bang, which, it's a bang at the end of the day, you've just got to go. And tomorrow for United is about how quick we can get out of the traps. Because we know Leeds are going to be intense. I just hope Leeds haven't got their rhythm going, because they will be very physical and they will be intense. And I just hope that Ollie doesn't think, I'm playing Leeds, Duracell batteries, Carricky, get him in, Scotty, get McTominay out there. McTominay hasn't played, and I'm the closer we get to this game, and it might be just the negativity I've got around the Varane deal. I think Ollie will start McTominay tomorrow. What better player to start against Leeds, Carricky, than Mayo? He'll run around forever. Put the batteries in and he'll run around forever. But what about what about fitness, Ollie? What about fitness? Well, I think it's got to be Matic and Donny. Leicester are getting a new stadium. They've got brilliant owners, says Raz. This season is all about one thing, consistency, says Ben Anderson, spot on. Something we have not had over the past 8 years. For me, this season is down to Ollie and nothing else. Man United are run badly, but look at my club, Barcelona. The previous owner, Bartomeu, destroyed the club. They went from a brilliant team to a meme, says Paul the Guy. Yeah, but at least, you could say Bartomeu destroyed Barcelona in the space of 2 or 3 years. The Glazers have been gradually doing it for 16. I'd argue that Barcelona have had a much better last 16 years than we have. I mean, I know we've won titles in a Champions League in that time, but the Glazers' destruction of Manchester United is a bit like the Stadium Old Trafford. It's the rusty, it's the leaks. It gradually erodes. Whereas I think with Barcelona, the damage is huge, but you'll be able to rebuild that damage. It's like a demolition job, isn't it? He's planted the dynamite, and boom, it's caused major problems for Barcelona that they know they need to rebuild. The Glazers' damage is somewhat more sly. It's just a slow erosion over a long period of time. If Varane deal is taking so much time, will our slow board be able to complete the deal with Camavinga or any other Premier League? No, Sarvesh. Here's a sobering thought for you. Okay, I will leave you with this one, right? For anybody who thinks we're going to buy a midfielder, who is the midfielder? That's your first problem, right? For anybody who thinks we're buying, second problem, for anyone who thinks we're buying a midfielder, the distance between today and the rest of the transfer window is almost the same as the distance between today and when Manchester United announced that they'd agreed a deal with Varane. 2.5 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks in the future is the end of the transfer window. That's how. And you think United are going to approach a midfielder and announce them in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks? You can't see it, can you? You can't see it. I think it will be, the worst case scenario is we get nobody. The next worst scenario is we get rid of Delay and we bring Trippier in. The dream scenario is that we actually buy the midfielder that should have been a priority in the first place. But I'm not confident. I'm not confident on that at all. And especially with the midfielder, we are not in talks with Neves. We are not in talks with Neguez, and we are not in talks with Camavinga. We're not in talks with anybody at the moment in time. And that's the fact. That's where we are. Things can change, of course they can. But look, somebody said to me this morning, have you ever thought that the reason United are dragging Varane out is because they just don't want all the hype about buying another player? The longer they drag it out, the closer you get to the end of the transfer window, the more the reality starts to drop into the fans' minds, and the Glazers win. United's policy on the fans: feed them crap and keep them in the dark. Nice little departed reference on a Friday morning. Southpaw Love Sports. We are the mushrooms. Manchester United fans are the mushrooms. They put us in the shade, they feed us crap, and they tell us nothing. Communication is key in any business, and I've always wondered why Manchester United are so bad at communication. How many times has Ed Woodward spoken to the fans? I mean, he's the CEO of Manchester United Football Club, and he does not communicate. Jose Mourinho said this, and Jose Mourinho got a lot of things wrong at United, but some would say he got a lot of things right as well. He always said, at Manchester United, I've never worked at a club where you are it. You are the manager, you have to train the team, pick the team, You know, you take the brunt of the media for results and signings, and then you also have to talk about transfers, policy, the way the club is run. There is nobody above you that comes out and looks after you. Now, this is very different at a lot of clubs in the Premier League now, and it's obviously very different at a lot of clubs in Europe. If you think about it, we all know the CEO and the sporting director of Bayern Munich and Juventus and Dortmund and other clubs, but at United, the communication is terrible. And to be honest with you, this is banking mentality. I used to work in the banking sector. This is what it's like. The people at the top become more and more reclusive. They make the decisions, but they don't want to be accountable for it. They just want to do their job, get their money, and they don't want to talk to the little people. They don't want to talk to the customers. They're not interested in that. They're too high level. I'm too high level to be explaining myself to customers. And that is the banking world. And unfortunately, a lot of the people at Manchester United who should be communicating with us are banking background. Therefore, the mouthpiece tends to always be the manager. If the manager doesn't talk to us, who talks to us? Harry Maguire? Bruno Fernandes? Think about it. Who talks to the fans above the manager? But the manager could be sacked within 2 months if he has a bad start to the season. It's a farce. When you look at the way United's run, it's a joke. Communication-wise, it's a joke. Because the manager could be gone in 2 months. If Ollie loses his first 4 games, he's probably gone. And then he goes and Pochettino or whoever comes in and he's talking to us. They're not really the vision of the football club. They're just the puppet because they can be sacked in no time. Why are we not communicated to? We're just not, and it's poor. Mark, did you see Ty make a show of himself on Overlap? Also, is there a United stand football Premier League this year? There is a football fantasy Premier League, Gary. It's on my Twitter. I will retweet it straight after this show so you know what it is. But it's not a United stand one. It's That's Football because everyone's, we thought we'd move it away from United stand. Anyway, look, I might be back live in 25 minutes. They might announce it at 11 o'clock. They might announce it at 12 o'clock. They might announce it in December. But we are going to be live at about 1:30 for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction. Looking forward to that. Should get some team insight. Can't tell you when Varane's going to be announced. Wish I could. Look, United, if you want somebody to communicate your information, I'll do it. There's plenty of people who'll do it. I think you need to start communicating better because it's appalling. It really is appalling. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all in a bit. Smash a like.